Good morning.
Good morning.
It is a fabulous morning this morning, isn't it? Today I'm going to be taking a lot of my sermon from a book written by Peggy Barnes, and it's called Self-Realization. And if you like what you hear, it's only $3 in the bookstore. And today's sermon is on equal rights and distribution. All that we need, or ever can need, has been here since the beginning of time, only waiting for us to progress mentally to a stage where we can recognize and take advantage of this great storehouse that is all around us. From the earth, air, and water, and the minerals, we derive the things that we need to sustain our earthly existence. There is no partiality in divvying it up. The only thing that limits us is our thought. With our negative thoughts, we decrease our ability, and our positive thoughts, we increase our ability to receive the abundance. It is at that point that we run into cause and effect. In this day, when we are learning the operation of the mental law, there are many excuses which we formerly made for our transgressions that must be cast aside, and among them is our willingness to say that the environment is to blame for all the conditions from which we contend with. Environment has always been an excuse for the person who has not had the initiative, the energy, or the knowledge and know-how. It was my mother's fault. It was my father's fault. I was poor. I was rich. It's always been the environment, something on the outside, not the inside. Our religion teaches that it comes from within. The world does not owe us anything. We owe the world quite a bit. We owe the world for our ability to breathe. We owe the world for the food we eat and the space we take up. There is an abundant supply of all things for our comfort and sustenance. The universe has shown no partiality in providing this supply, but we as individuals must obtain our share through our own energy and ambition. When we realize that our present physical and financial status is due to the thoughts that we permit in our minds, then we must logically conclude that the habit of learning to blame the environment is a bad one. Whatever the situation that may confront you, it is entirely up to you to change it. Our misfortunes are not the fault of another, and we are not the victims of circumstance. Get that thought out of your mind once and for all. We are not victims, not one of us. We are the outer manifestation of our inner world. We do not say that the environment has no effect, however, because in our younger years, it does. And it is not a valid excuse for when we grow older and we have that conscious understanding of the world around us when we've reached the age of maturity. If you do not like your present environment, change it as only you can. No one is going to pick you up and place you in the midst of wealth and happiness. That lotto ticket is not just around the corner. Well, for most of us. You must attain that goal through your own effort. And if you are one of those people who cannot be taught the era of self-pity and the weakness of blaming the environment for your lack of initiative, then there is little hope for your growth and your progression. But when you are inclined to feel sorry for yourself, remember that whatever your status in life, there are others more unfortunate than yourself. And all we have to do as Americans is look at the third world countries. Those who live in huts, those who don't have clean water. We take having a toilet for granted. The law of compensation is the great leveler of life. The law of compensation works hand in hand here. The law of compensation always balances accounts out with each individual. And those who have a superiority complex will at some time have their fall. The intolerance of any kind, works as a boomerang and will always come back to hit that person who sent it out. Whether it's prejudice, dislike of your neighbor, dislike of somebody in your church family, intolerance will boomerang and come back to you. Thus we realize our own moral responsibility, not only to ourselves, but to the world at large. If we fill our inner world with thoughts of happiness and success, and permit no negative force to tear down that power of attainment, that power of attunement, we can reach our goal regardless of our environment. We have the power within us to bring into reality anything we are able to visualize, even a lotto ticket. There is no height to which we cannot climb, provided we know the law and put it into motion. And I want to preface that with know the laws, because one works with the other. We recognize that there is an abundance of all we need right here. We also recognize that there is no partiality as to who gets what. We also recognize that the air, the earth, the minerals, no matter where you look, it's there. We can also agree that the only thing that limits us is our thoughts. So, what's the secret? Why aren't we all millionaires? If we can all have it all, why aren't we millionaires? And I say that on this wonderful onion, there are several layers that we haven't quite learned about. And so today I'd like to talk to you about one layer that we forget, and it's the easiest one of all to go ahead and put into motion, and it brings to you exactly what you want. But it's that part we miss. As with every law, whether it's the law of abundance or the law of vibration or the law of compensation, there are several components to making them work. Let's look closely at compensation and the law of attraction. Almost simultaneously, these two work together. And this is the part that will make you go, The universe is governed by natural law, and all the laws work in harmony. There are many people who are moral, but they live in poverty and have ill health. And they wonder, hey, why do bad things happen to good people? These people like ourselves think like we do. Hey, we've lived our good moral lives, so why are we being punished? Or, hey, I went ahead and I did my positive affirmation. I made my little book. I put it up on the wall. Why don't I have what it is that I'm putting out there?